When we enliven ourselves with the structures we have been given, I believe that is the root that sustains and creates complacency. In the thought forms such as the great minds before us, Steiner, Tesla, Casey, Einstein, to name just a few, we look to them for the evolvement of our future. But with every great master, the student always surpasses the master with the deepest of honor, the deepest of respect, the deepest of gratitude. To bridge the knowing and the knowledge of consciousness is the awakening of our world. I'm going to read that again. To bridge the knowledge, the knowingness of consciousness is the awakening of our world. Deep dive into that. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So perhaps we delve deep into our own consciousness to better understand ourselves in contemplation before we venture out to elaborate, to speculate, and to solve the teaching of all the great minds that have come and have, yeah, that have come before us, right? That have came before us. Is that correct English? July 12th, 2026, Karina Angela. I wrote that last night and I took a deep dive into it, and it segues into what I'm talking about today and everything consciousness. But, it's like, wait, what if consciousness is not inside our brain, right? What if your brain is simply receiving and translating it? Sound familiar, Nikola Tesla? What if that is the case? And I know there's a lot of research and a lot of scientific uh, case studies as well as proven now that it's not inside our brain. So let's deep dive into that. What if we are all consciousness? What if everything is consciousness? What if? So I love to propose those questions to deep dive into that, because the real questions become, how clearly are you receiving it? How clearly are you receiving it, but also how clearly and in what depth are you understanding it? It's very easy to read and research and follow people that are talking about it, but to ask yourself that question of, how clearly are you understanding it? How clearly are you receiving it? Because consciousness may be constantly moving through you as information, awareness, imagery, sensation, knowing, and perception. But if you don't know how to interpret it, if you don't understand it, how you're actually receiving it, what happens? You you may dismiss it. You may misinterpret it. You may second guess yourself. You may doubt it. I've done this many times, like, yeah, okay, push it aside. Yeah, not a big deal, right? So it's like, okay, ask yourself those questions, because taking a deep dive into that to really being consciously aware of how you are receiving is very important. So that's why I created Transference Experience. The Transference Experience I created not so you can simply learn more about consciousness, but so you can begin experiencing it directly and through your own filters, right? Through your own perception. We're all one of a kind. We all process information differently. We may have common threads, but we all are unique and different the way we process information. So our consciousness is a blueprint for each and every one of us. It's like a tool to, it's like your own navigating system, right? That's how I love to think about it. It's your own amazing tool, and how many people play with it and have fun with it and deep dive into it, and the wonderment of that all, and what it can do for you, and how it can expand you, how you can expand your consciousness and do more, think different ways, heal your body, all of those things, right? So, directly understanding how it moves through you, I believe, is very, very important. For the last 7 years, I've been practicing this and applying it and teaching this work. I have taught it in person, with groups, with individuals, with clients. I did several case studies and research with my IDD students back in 2023, and found such amazing results. And not only, witnessing the results for myself when I applied all this information, I just documented everything. I'm an insatiable researcher, and I'm just so wildly curious and want to document everything. So I found it just fascinating, the results and the common threads that were occurring, and the transference of energy that was occurring, um, all simultaneously when utilizing these exercises. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. Um, I've applied it throughout these last 7 years to my own healing process and my own personal transformation. And there's been many. So with that, it's like, whoa, okay. And then, I would hear feedback from the groups that I was facilitating with this work. And then, and then the testimonials, and people reading my book. But it's very interesting, very interesting. And then documenting case studies and so on and so forth. It was just quite extraordinary. For more than 5 decades, I've been exploring consciousness through direct experience, because that's how I learn. That's deeply how I learn. And I'm insatiably curious, wildly curious to experience these things. I just don't pull things out of the air. I don't readily believe people. Like, okay, really? Like, okay, I need some proof here, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a big part of my work as a noetic intelligence researcher. I deep dive in, I cross the T's, I dot the I's. I ask for the proof. I want the proof. Again, I just don't pull it out of the air and think, oh, okay, this is it. My work has included thousands of out-of-body experiences, automatic writing since I was age 7 it started, intuitive perception, healing, and decades of observing and documenting consciousness. So I have a whole plethora of tools and information and research and documented information that proves to be true over and over and over again. And it's just fascinating to me. I guess I'm a nerd. I guess you could say I'm a nerd. So what I know is that this work comes alive when it is experienced, and it truly does. When I teach, I guide, I lecture, or even read Transference, Connect to Your Soul Self, something opens through the process of this transference. Energy, the information, the awareness, and a deeper understanding begins to merge. And it's really difficult to explain until you're actually in the experience. I wrote this book, Transference Connect to Your Soul Self, back in 2019, and it took 4 months. I channel wrote it in 4 months and telepathically received it from Edgar Casey and Gladys Davis Turner. And in the very beginning, I was tested over and over again, and I tested them like, okay, if you're asking me to write these books for you, this is the first book in the series. I'm like, okay, I need XYZ, please, and then sure enough, they would show me where to find certain things or tell me certain things or look up on the computer, navigate here, go there. Oh, there it is. Oh, and I document this as well as in my book because it was this step-by-step process that I just dove into when I said yes, because it was so important to Edgar and Gladys to continue their amazing work and their legacy of wanting to help the new children of the earth. And entry number 4, Edgar wanted it called Telepathy. And it's just fascinating when you read that entry. It brings me to tears because Dr. Diane Hensley Powell is in it, and I didn't even know who this person was. I didn't know of her work, and he was so adamant about having her in the book. And I was like, okay. I was at that point in the beginning in 2019, I was the clear receiver. I was like, okay, and, taking the notes. And I was the secretary and the right hand and the left hand and all those things. And it was just fascinating to dive into her work and understand what she was doing. And then years later, her being such an incredible part of the telepathy tapes, which I just found fascinating. And that's why Edgar was so adamant that she be in the book and referenced in the book because her amazing work that she has done for so many years. And now it's just exploded. And I'm just really, I'm, I'm grateful that I listened. So that's the part where we deep dive into consciousness. When we're tapping into consciousness, the conscious field, or whatever you would like to call it, how can we be at peace with what we're receiving, and how can we trust it and learn it as a muscle and become stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's the entire process of the book. It's this step by step process that I was receiving information on a daily basis, and I was learning as I was going. So it was just, it was just such a fascinating process for me to learn and understand. So, throughout these 7 years, really acclimating and integrating all these 28 exercises within the book that they showed me, and how to navigate and all the steps and how to proceed with all of these amazing exercises to expand your consciousness, but to really understand yourself, your soul self, connection with your soul self, which is fascinating. So, the transference experience is all based on these experiences, these exercises that are in the book. So, yeah, what I know is that this work is alive. Anytime I'm talking about, like right now, I'm like, what, where did that all just come from? I get swept away in it because I love when I'm merged in with the energy, and that's exactly what happens. And again, that's why it's so difficult to explain this, but when you're in the experience, when you're in a group, well, when you join the transference experience, you'll understand because you'll be in it, and we'll all be learning and growing together because each exercise greets you exactly where you're at. So that's the beauty part of it as well. That remains to be true, 7 years later. So if you've been following my work and wanted to experience consciousness in a very different way, in your own personal way, instead of just reading it about it or yeah, reading it, researching it, following people that are talking about it. This is your amazing opportunity to experience it yourself. And I think that's just priceless because you'll learn so much, you'll grow so much, and you'll be with other people that are wanting the same, similar things, right? That they're wanting to explore and expand and understand consciousness on a different level, on many different levels. So you don't have to commit to the entire experience. You can begin with just 1 month and, test it out, experience it yourself. So you can just sign up 1 month at a time, or you just dive in and sign up for the 14 weeks. We go through 2 exercises every week and we deep dive into, I'll be reading from my book each exercise, and we'll have the Q&A. We'll have practice. We'll have yeah, just a full-on deep dive of the information. And again, it's quite extraordinary. It's really interesting. So for those who are already committed to the 14 weeks, fantastic, and I'm so happy you're here. And the Transference Experience begins this Sunday on July 19th and will be live on Zoom. And I would love, 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 love for you to join us and explore for yourself and find the results for yourself. And how can you apply the information and the experience in your everyday life to help you in your businesses, help you in your personal life, help you with your growth, your spiritual path, your journey, your mission, your purpose here. We're all individually unique, and it's just a wonderful way for you to explore the depths of you and begin to trust yourself to become wiser and stronger and healthier and heal yourself. And, I mean, it's just, there's so many possibilities within all of these exercises to explore. So I hope you'll join us. I would really love for you to be there. And thank you so much. I'm Karini Angela. And yeah, join us for the Transference Experience. We're starting this Sunday. And I'll leave the link down below. Thank you so much. Bye for now.